Hi everybody, this is TechNolli, and today we've got kind of an exciting video planned for you. This is a $425 new build, not including the monitor, of course. And we're going to compare it price-wise and speed-wise to a Mac Mini at $600. And we're going to talk about why would you still build a Hackintosh when you can get a Mac Mini for 600 bucks. So we'll talk about that. We'll look at specs, we'll look at how they both perform, and we'll talk about upgradability. So let's get into this, and we'll look at performance, we'll look at cost, and of course, there will be an EFI for this if you want to build one yourself on my website. And also, this PC will be for sale at my cost, ready to go. All right, let's get into this video. Okay, guys, like I said, here we go on this Hackintosh. And why in the world would you buy a Hackintosh or build a Hackintosh when you can get a Mac Mini for cheap money? So let's talk about that. This is the motherboard that is being used on this computer. Now, as you can see right here, we have two spots for NVMe drives. So upgradability is there. This motherboard will handle up to 128 gigs of RAM. It's using the latest 13/14 gen CPU. We're using the i3 13100 CPU in this one. And we've got plenty of USBs. We've got 4 on the back. We've got two on the front. Okay, so this is a real nice motherboard. Gigabyte. We also have the Wi-Fi included and working, and we have Ethernet right here. So here's a shot of the back of the board. All right, now internal graphics do not work anymore because of the Intel CPUs with the built-in graphics are not supported by Mac OS. So you have to use a graphics card. All right, so let's move on. So this is the motherboard we chose, and I've got a running total here of each component, okay? Now, let's go over here to 8 gigabytes of RAM. This is DDR4, because if we go over here to Apple, we go here to a Mac Mini. We're going to buy. This is we're going to look at the base model, okay? All right. So here we are, $599. So let's select that. And let's look what it comes with. It comes with 8 gigs of RAM. It comes with the 256 gigabyte SSD. All right. And then if we want to upgrade, we can do it right here. I'm sure you guys have all seen this. So we'll just compare our Hackintosh to the Mac Mini for now. Okay, so we're going to put 8 gigabytes of RAM in this thing. So we're looking at like $15. Here's a Samsung stick. Okay, and then we'll put in a 256 gigabyte NVMe, and here we're going to be at, for a decent brand, Samsung here for 18 bucks. All right. Now, we need a graphics card for this. Now, here's a little trick. If we go over here to eBay, this is the card that I'm using, and there are tons of these available. Just type in Radeon This is natively supported by macOS 560. This is a card I'm using right now. And here they are. Power Color is a good brand. 36 bucks, 28 bucks. Oh, DVI only. You don't want that. This is 4 gigabytes. So let's figure on $30 for a graphics card. Okay. All right. And then we need a case. And the case that I am using is a very attractive case. Okay. And well, here it is in black. So figure $60 for a case. Then we need a power supply. So we'll go over here and grab a 500 watt. And you say, well, I don't really need a 500 watt. If you ever upgrade to a higher end graphics card, you'll have it. I really like this brand, Thermaltake. This is what I'm using in this one right now, $40. Okay, so let's add all that up and you see where we come out. Now, I put in this computer 16 gigs of RAM because my cost difference is like $10. And I put in a 512, which my cost difference is about $10. So now we're up to $9.99 with the same exact specs that I have in this one, with a total cost of just a little under $450. So, yeah, I think Hackintosh is still a great value. Now let's talk about upgradability. You cannot upgrade this yourself. They are not upgradable by the consumer. You have to buy them the way you want them. So if you want to have more storage down the road, you're going to have an external drive. Okay? Because if you get into things like, oh, I want, well, 24 gig, I mean, we can put a lot more RAM in ours, but if we just get 1 terabyte of storage and 24 gigabytes, we're at $1,400. So, Hackintosh is here to stay for quite a while. And from all of the people that I talk to in the industry and behind the scenes, they are working on macOS to work on Intel based and AMD based systems for well into the future. So I don't think Hackintosh is going away. And it's still a viable option for people that want to upgrade their system down the road. So I still believe in it. I still love it. It works great. Sleep on this computer works fantastic. And you're at $450 for a computer that would cost you $1,000. So it's half the money. But it has that upgrade ability. And if you wanted to put in a different CPU in this system, you just swap it out. You can't do that. Once you commit, you're done. So I think that's why PC Hackintoshes are still so popular. Now, I want to get into benchmarks on this so we can compare it to a Mac Mini, because as you all know, this is an Apple M2 CPU. So these have gotten accolades of being, extremely good, and I believe they are. So let me download Geekbench and let's look at some numbers. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and run this, and it's going to give us some numbers on how well this computer performs, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, here we are with our scores. So we have a single score. This is a single core of the CPU. 1744, and a multi, this is your multi-core processor score. Okay, so let's compare that to some real Mac computers. All right, I'll put this over here. You can take a look at both. All right, so let's go down here on the single score, 17. All right, so we're between an M1 MacBook Pro from 2020 and an Intel i9-10900. Okay, so we're right in the middle there. Excellent scores for this type of computer. Now, if you go up here, the Mac Studio, which is $2,000, we're at 2383, which is not much higher of a score. All right, and even if you go up here to the M2, 2572. So this is just an i3 processor, Intel. So if you put in a faster CPU in this thing, you're going to get much higher performance. All right, multi-score, 67. All right, so we're a MacBook Pro from 2019. That's, that was about an $8,000 computer, but it's 4 years old. And again, a MacBook Pro 16-inch. So really good scores when you compare it to being $450. Okay, if we come up here to get a higher score, MacBook Pro with a Xeon, a MacBook Pro with 24 cores, you're going to get higher scores. And of course, if we put in an i9 processor or an i7 processor, we're going to get these kind of numbers. So I'm really happy with that. All right, let's run some other tests. Okay, guys. All right, let's try Blackmagic speed, disk speed. Okay, so we'll hit this, get the write and the read speeds. All right, so very good speeds. This is no high-end NVMe drive. This is a Western Digital decent drive, and we are good to use anything up to about 8K. We are good for read writes for all of these resolutions, ProRes, Blackmagic RAWs, and H.265. So good speed tests on this. Very nice. Now let's move on to Logic. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and launch Logic Pro. Complete mode, download later, resume later. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and get into here. Now what I'm going to load is this project. Okay, and you guys, if you've watched my channel before, you know this test. This is basically, all of these tracks have all of these plugins on every channel. Okay, so realistically in real recording, and that goes clear across, okay? You're not going to have that many plugins on every channel. You're going to have, guitar tracks, piano tracks, string tracks that are just audio tracks. These are all plugins. These take a lot of resources to run. So we're putting a lot of pressure on this system, and we want to see just how many of these tracks can we run. Now, I've already done this test, and it's 76, okay? And if I go ahead and click on here and wait, let's customize it. All right, you can see we're at 100%. We're not overloading, but we're at 100% on this i3 processor. So 76 tracks of 5 plugins on every channel using a VST instrument, that's a heavy, heavy, heavy load. And on this little PC, we can do 76 tracks. If I just turn off a bunch of these, you'll see the performance meter goes way down. Okay, so now I'm running what? 44 tracks. And so yeah, you can do a lot of magical things with 76 tracks. Like I said before, you're not going to have this many plugins on every channel, 76 channels. So this is going to increase your performance and you'll be able to use more and more tracks. All right, so here we are. I think we've got a real good example of what this computer will do. And we've talked about the numbers. We've talked about, is it worth it to use a Hackintosh? And I think what we've basically said is, yes, it's cheaper and it's upgradable. Is there a hassle with Hackintosh when they come out with new versions of Mac OS? Sometimes, sometimes not. If you don't want to update to the latest and greatest Mac OS, you don't have to. You can just keep using your computer the way it sits. So there you go. Like I said before in the beginning of the video, this computer is for sale for $450, but you do need to pay shipping wherever you're located. If you want to get it complete, ready to go, just turn it on. All right, guys, thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.